Hey, hi guys, how y'all doing? Welcome back to the bench. So, today we're going to talk about the Kolbalt dog wrench, or dog bone wrench rather. It's a multi-tool made by the Kolbalt company. Um, you know, I'm kind of mixed on this tool right here. This tool I think is made for certain niches in life. I think all these dog bone wrench type tools are very particular because they have very good size to them, a lot of pros, and then they also have a lot of cons to them. But I want to say, starting off, that I'm kind of disappointed with the Cobalt design compared to the Craftsman design. I love Cobalt tools. That's probably one of the things you've seen on the channel. But this design is a fairly poor one. And the main reason why I would say, starting off, is if you look down inside the socket right here, you see this bar that's running right through the middle of this? Well, this bar prevents you from using this on anything that has a long bolt or a long shaft or bolt if you try to reach down onto. So for an example, if you were going on something like this that has a bolt that's sticking out. Now, keep in mind, at my job, I deal with stuff like this. I run into problems like this all the time. And, this is fairly short compared to some of the stuff I deal with. But if I was trying to get down there, you can't do it. Now, this is not what this tool is made for. It's not made for this. These kind of wrenches, if you were to purchase one of these are for people who want to, say, throw them in their truck or their car. Maybe you don't want to carry a whole bunch of sockets. Maybe you just want to kind of standard set. Somebody maybe who is going to like a junkyard type thing, and they just want to have something that can kind of work on a little bit of everything. This tool will be good for. But this tool is definitely not made for to me, it's not made for a working man's tool. This is something I have at home, something I purchased. But it's not for something I would take to work and ever use at work on a daily basis, because they're just much better options. Another thing about this tool that I don't like is the fact that, and keep in mind, it hurts me to say I don't like anything that Cobalt does. It really does. But another thing that I don't like is the fact that the locking mechanism on here, I think they could have did a better job on that. So the way this thing locks, it has these little pins right here on the inside. It's a little pin, a little ball push-in pin. But they don't work that well. I mean, they work well enough, but they only have one on this side. I think what they should have done was put another one on this side, and I think that would have helped it lock a lot better, and it would have been give you a little more rigidity into the tool itself, because the problem you have is when you're using this particular wrench, the problem that you run into is that, if I can get it put back together, there we go. The problem you run into is that this wrench will move on you. So for example, if you were to go down and try to get a bolt off or break a nut loose, you'll go down on it and you'll be using it, and next thing you know, this thing right here will be like this, and then you have to stop in the middle of what you're doing and readjust it, find it, and then go back to it, and then it'll move again, and you have to stop, and so it does. Like I said, this locking mechanism is not the best in the world, and I think they could have fixed that problem by adding another little locking mechanism on the other side of this wrench, and I think that would have helped the situation. But as far as that goes, like I said, the bolt being in the middle of it and this thing always moving on you, it drives me insane. That's one of the reasons why I just don't use it. Because if you were to use this wrench, let's say you were taking this to work or even around the house, I mean, hell, if I have to stop every 5 seconds to to move this back and forth, then what's the point? What is the point? If that's the case, you might as well just use, a regular standard wrench, if that's the case, because you're not saving any time. Second thing I don't like about it, and this is all dog all these dog bone wrenches, no matter who it's made by, is the fact that it's not meant to be a ratchet. That's not the purpose of these wrenches. And to me, it's kind of like, where's the plus side to using something like this? I mean, really. I mean, the only plus side is that you would have your standard set with you. So if you want to switch between a 5/8 or a ½ inch or a quarter or whatever the case may be, yeah, that's a plus. Other than that, I don't really see where not being able to use it like a ratchet and have to keep lifting off the part every time, and every time you lift off the part it moves on you and you have to stop and do this. Like, if that's the case, I might as well just use this or just use a ratchet. And with this bar being in the middle of it, if I can't go all the way down onto something I'm going onto, then it's no benefit in it. With a ratchet, you can't go all the way down onto a part, but with a wrench, you can get down to the bottom of it if you need to, or even use this end to go on top of it and get down on it. So to me, it's kind of like, I've used this tool and I've had some success with it. It's really good when it comes to breaking off bolts that are stuck. If you have a bolt that is sitting somewhere and it's stuck and you cannot break it loose for the life of you, like on changing your oil, for an example. Sometimes they get stuck. It's been a while since you got to it, especially on an old car. Something like this will break it loose for sure. I've had something on an old car and I had to break one loose, and it. I was out there, fooling with it. Pulled this out, used it, and it popped right off. So yeah, that's a benefit to something like this. It's a very heavy tool. It's very durable. It definitely is not going to break on you for sure. It has a good grip, good texture on it. But like I was saying, as far as it not being able to ratchet back and forth, that is one of the problems that I do have with, this particular tool. Now, another thing I will say about this particular wrench that's a plus for it is the fact that if you look inside the teeth on the inside of it, it allows you to grip different size. Well, I'll say different patterns, not different sizes, but different patterns of bolts. Not every bolt is a perfect hex, or they come in different with different sides on them rather, and this allows you to use it for different bolts or different size bolts rather, and that's a plus for it. But like I said, the downside to this is having that bar right there in the middle of it is just, it gets in the way. And I think for Kolbalt, they could have designed this. They could have did a better job of designing it. I really feel that way. With this part right here moving, using that one ball joint to hold it, to me, it's just not a good design. Even with having that ball joint, if you look at some of the Craftsman dog bone wrenches, the Craftsman, they will, without having that little ball joint, whatever you want to call it, to stop it, they allow you to get into a certain angle. So if, for example, if you were to have if this was welded in place and I need to get around it, you could come at it at a different angle and get around it, or a certain angle. So with that ball joint in there, it's kind of in the way a little bit. It's not too bad. For most angles you can get into it. It's not a problem. Another thing I don't like about these dog wrenches is when you're trying to get into certain places. So, for example, if you're trying to get into stuff, you're working on a car or something, you're not going to use this. If you're a mechanic, this is, like I said, changing oil, maybe, if you've got something stuck. But every day, because it's not a ratchet, you're not going to use this. You're not going to be trying to reach down into somebody's, the side of a car with limited space, and you have all this extra material coming off the back of it from here to here, trying to get into a little small space. That's not going to work for you. And you could just easily use a smaller set like this and carry it around with you, clip it to your belt, and use that, with the ratchet to subsidize a tool like this. Like I said, this is, I'm just not satisfied with the design of this tool. And another thing too is, it does come with the standard and the metric. So on one side you have standard, and one side you have metric, which is pretty nice. But and I've used it for it. It's come in handy where I had a bolt that I thought was like, it's standard, but it's really metric, and it's come in handy where you don't have to, go back to your shop or and get your different wrench or whatnot. But for the most part, like I said, this is not where it's at. And like I said, with this being able to move so freely, they give you a different attachment piece that you pop off. On the bigger side, you pop this little pin out, and you basically put this one in there, and you use it the same way. But the problem is that it came with these little, like a long skinny set of something like this, but it was a lot longer, and I actually use it a lot, but I use it at work, so I have it at work, so I don't have it with me. But when you use it and you stick it down in there, well, that's great and dandy, but like I said, it keeps moving. So if it keeps moving every time you use it, then what is the point? Especially when you're talking about something as small as a screw, you know, what is the point? You know, if it keeps moving around. If you own a tool like this, then you should own, you know, a screwdriver. Okay, I mean, no offense, but if you're gonna sit here and invest in a tool like this, I hope to God you've purchased a quality, you know, Phillips flathead or whatnot over the years. So, like I said, I just don't see the point in this. This tool does come with a little flashlight. I keep that at work. I actually use it just to hold up my blueprints because the light on is not really worth anything at all. It's a very cheap light. But other than that, this is my review on this particular product. If you want to purchase this product, by all means, go ahead. It's something, like I said, that is handy to throw in the back of a truck or something like that. But if you're going to use it every day to think you're going to be working in your shop or something like that, you're going to use this tool a couple times and you're going to realize that this is not an everyday tool. But definitely, if you like this video, definitely give me a thumbs up. And thank you for your time.